Nick Tandy, what a move. Truex on the outside, contact made. 56 slides it at a 4. Who's going to be at the stripe? Did even give it to Ryan Truex. Truex is your winner over Tandy.
Good evening and welcome to iRacing Night here on Dan's Choice TV. I'm Tony Stevens, he is Joe Cortez, and Joe, I cannot tell you how much I have looked forward to this night for the last week. Not only do we have SK mods at Lanier, but we have got super late models at Stafford Motor Speedway. This is going to be a fun night.
This is what you live for, my friend. This is your gig. This is what you dig week in and week out there in Charlotte. And I guarantee you the one thing that you're going to see tonight is a whole lot of fun. This is what Saturday Night Speedway is all about, my friend. And this is why we're going to have a good time tonight calling these cars on short tracks. Get ready for a good old-fashioned brawl.
Oh, you gotta love it. Modifieds, late models, this is what short track racing is in America. And if you've never been to your local NASCAR home track or even a non-sanctioned short track, we certainly encourage you to go to one of your local short tracks. Pavement, dirt, whatever it is, you'll find great racing each and every night of the week, or whichever week I should say, that they do run. With that in mind, let's move over here to Lanier National Speedway. And Joe, this is a 3/8 mile. I call it affectionately a skid pad. Very tight, very slick, and it puts on some very, very good racing.
Oh, should be a lot of fun racing. Sorry about that as I try to configure everything here for the studio. Absolutely right. Tonight we're going to see a lot of crazy racing in this little tiny oval. What you're going to see tonight is instead of strategic maneuvering, you're going to see a lot of guys just go in completely at it, full bore, throw dice to the air and see what exactly happens out there. Because at 50 laps in these little SK modifieds, you don't have a whole lot of time, Tony. It's go or go home, and you're going to see a lot of guys out there getting ready to make it go.
You're exactly right, Joe. In fact, practice just now finishing up. They're getting ready to grid cars here at Lanier National Speedway. And you see some of the top guys in the series as we get ready to throw cars on the racetrack. And Joe, to no surprise, some of those guys are up front here as we get ready to start at Lanier National Speedway.
50 laps of racing of the SK Modifieds here in Lanier National Speedway. It's going to be a barn burner, and we're going to have a whole lot of fun bringing it to you. 15 cars on the grid tonight, Tony, which means we're going to have a very intimate field, as it were. And let's go ahead and start taking down the group.
On the pole, the almost Speed Weeks champion from New Smyrna Beach, Florida, in the iRacing car. Tonight, he's in the number 1. That's Ty Majeski. And to his outside is Ryan Michael Luza in the 2. Or check that. That's actually Bill Martin, I apologize, in the 3 on the outside of row number 2.
Which race are you watching there?
I'm looking, exactly, yeah.
Okay, he's too excited. He's too excited for this race. Kevin Myers, 3rd. Brent Osborne, the 15 and 4th.
Ryan Michael Luza starts 5th tonight in number 2, and then Stan Bragg Jr. is in the 6th on the outside of row 3.
Tyler Laughlin will start position number 7. Christian Peterson on his outside in 8th.
The 4 is Logan Clampett. To his outside is Justin Knobloch in the 14.
Casey Tucker, Colin Keister will start positions 11 and 12.
And final 3 starters on the field, Jordy Lopez Jr., Dylan Jones, and Alan Bowes in the number 10. As we said, 15 cars, 50 laps the distance, and this is, if you will, kind of your Saturday night enduro style. No caution flags, 50 laps at 13 seconds a lap. This race will not take very long, Joe.
Not going to take very long at all, but it's going to be a whole lot of fun. Different entirely style of racing than what we're used to here in the on iRacing Night, which means it's going to be a whole lot of fun as we get ready to go green.
Already very quickly, green flag is out, and to nobody's surprise, Ty Majeski jumps out to the early lead. In fact, top 6-7 cars now. Single file, the battle is further back. Stan Bragg Jr. is battling. We got a couple of cars tied up in the back. Justin Knobloch is one of them. He's the big loser. He'll be the last guy across the stripe on this lap, and as we said, no cautions. We will continue on. Up front, Majeski continues to set the pace.
No cautions. We're going to keep moving forward as everybody single file all the way back to about position number 12. Battle now between the number 7 of Casey Tucker and it looks like the 10 machine of Alan Bowes. They battle for position number 13. Low line hot as Bowes gets the advantage.
All those guys were kind of caught up in that first lap accident over in turn number 3. So Bowes trying to move his way forward over Casey Tucker and Jordy Lopez Jr. And for Tucker, this is kind of a home race. Now, mind you, Lanier National Speedway does not currently run in the form it is represented on iRacing. It has since been changed, and some different things have gone on here, such as the property has been sold. But nonetheless, for Casey Tucker, a Georgian, this is a very special race to be on Fans' Choice, to be racing at the virtual Lanier National Speedway, a track he had many, many Saturday nights at as a kid.
Well, Tony, that's kind of the cool thing about iRacing. There's a lot of tracks that are represented on iRacing, like Lanier, like Irwindale, that no longer exist. But through the magic of technology, drivers can still participate on those races. And if you want to get involved, we've got a promo code for you. Buy 1 month, get 2 free. We'll even throw in the late model that you're going to see later on tonight here on iRacing Night on I'm sorry, the super late model, so not the same late model, but you get the idea. Our promo code is down there on the screen, 2015-PSRTV, 2015-PSRTV. Go to iRacing.com, get yourself some racing here in 2015.
And already as Ty Majeski works off turn number 4, we're working lap number 10. Already 20% of the way into this little Saturday night, or in this case, Tuesday night dash at Lanier National Speedway. And it has been a single file battle through most of the field, Joe. And let's talk a little bit about these SK Modifieds as you watch Brett Osborne and Ryan Michael Luza running nose to tail, separated by about a car length or so. This is part of the progression system in iRacing. If you're new to it, just like your physical racetrack in the wherever in the world you might be as you ride on board actually now with Luza, but you're going to work your way up from a Legends car or a street stock or some sort of entry level to a little bit of a higher level car like this SK mod and of course the super late model that we're going to see a little bit later here tonight. So these fields on iRacing to promote that learning curve are a little bit smaller and they don't have all the cautions to help promote learning how to drive and learning how not to run into the guy and making sure you can safely negotiate around the racetrack. As we watch a battle a little bit further back, Tyler Laughlin now and Stan Bragg Jr. That's the battle for the 6th and 7th spot as they continue to circulate off of turn number, turn number 2 now.
You know, the cool thing about these SK Modifieds is they're a perfect learning tool if you're just learning how to drive oval cars. So we look at them, I don't know if we can get a blimp shot here, but guys, if you take a look at them, the first thing you're going to notice about these cars is they are built asymmetrical. That is, they are built with a bias towards the left that encourages these SK modified cars to turn a little bit better, plus allow the drivers some cockpit time, as now the 12 of Stan Bragg Jr., check out the 12 of Tyler Laughlin under fire from Stan Bragg Jr. Bragg Jr. gets underneath in the assist machine. He almost has a position, needs one more turn to do it, and he will do it there. Left-hand turns all the way around, what these cars are built for, making them such a great learning tool here in the iRacing sim.
Well, it's not even just the sim, Joe. It is, in fact, racing in general. These cars are extremely popular in the Northeast. They kind of started at Stafford Motor Speedway, which coincidentally is the track we'll be going to next for the super late model race here on iRacing Night. But they started at Stafford Speedway. They were kind of the brainchild of the Arute family, and they've really taken off as an affordable, fun, and very competitive way to get involved in racing in the Northeast. And I think they're a great, great car. They've toured them around a little bit, different places with special events like Florida. They've come to North Carolina a few times, but they certainly make a great show no matter where they go. Back up front, Ty Majeski still is the leader. Bill Martin about 3/4 of a second back, and Majeski now, Joe, starting to catch the tail of the field. Justin Knobloch, remember, he was involved in that very first wreck on lap number 1 in turn 3. Majeski has reeled him in. Now the question is, how much will this hold up Majeski? And it looks like it will be almost nothing, as Knobloch will go to the high side of the racetrack and let Majeski slip on past.
Yeah, I was about to say, the answer there is absolutely zero, as Majeski gets by with relative ease. Rest of the field's in line. One problem out there is going to involve the number 3 of Bill Martin, and he's going to spin it out. Looks like it's going to be a solo spin. No yellow flag, so we continue running. Don't look now, Tony, but we're just about half done.
And Martin was in the second spot. He's going to be relegated all the way back to 12th, trying to drive a little harder maybe than that car would allow. Martin goes from 2nd to 12th, a net loss of 10 spots. That moves the number 11 of Kevin Myers up to 2nd. 3rd now is Osborne, Luza, and Bragg, the top 5. And back there at the tail end of the top 5, the 15, 2, and 6 of Osborne, Luza, and Bragg. They're having their own good little battle, all for that position number 3.
Position number 3 is a magic number right now, and Jesse's checking out. Myers 2nd, Brett Osborne 3rd. Now here comes Sternberg Jr. He's going to move up to position number 4. Ryan Michael Luza on their tail as well. Guys, this is a nice little battle brewing for position number 3 going on.
All this happening about 4 seconds behind the leader, Ty Majeski. And Ty Majeski, as we mentioned, races in real life. A super late model has run at a lot of these different racetracks. In fact, the super late model, as we said, is what we're going to see next year on iRacing Night. Maybe Majeski can make the green flag for that one too. We'll find out. It might be a little close on time, but he certainly would give it his best effort. There's that battle for 3rd once again. Osborne in danger of losing it to Stan Bragg Jr. At the stripe, Osborne still has it, trying to work the high line. And Joe, very impressive up top is Brett Osborne, but it's not enough. Bragg now to position number 3.
High line is not the place to be right now, as now Ryan Michael Luza and the 2 Machine trying to take advantage of Osborne being stuck on the high side as well. Luza knows exactly that low line is where he needs to be. He's driving it hard, almost using the apron to hook it, and now the 2 will officially figure that position on the 15. Move Ryan Michael Luza, position number 4.
So Osborne definitely going backwards here in the latter stages of this one. 34 laps complete. This time by Tyler Laughlin, the next car, to attempt a shot at Brett Osborne. And a lot of comers and goers already through this race. Joe Colin Keister started 12th. He is up to 7th. Tyler Laughlin, who we're watching in the middle of that battle, he started 7th. He's up to 6th, trying to work his way forward, as are a couple of others, such as Stan Bragg Jr., who now rides 3rd. He started 6th on the evening, and it looks like that car very, very fast later in the run. But the question is, does he have enough time with only 15 laps to go to catch Ty Majeski?
With only 3/8 of a mile on this track, almost 4/10, the answer is probably no. But crazier things have happened in short tracking as we continue to tick off the laps. Your leader, Ty Majeski, now 3 seconds ahead of Kevin Myers, effectively an eternity between the
problems! Osborne, a little bit of contact from Tyler Laughlin, able to hold on to it, and we'll continue on. So will Brett Osborne, although Laughlin will get the spot. And in fact, behind him, Colin Keister picks up a position as well. Getting down to the waning stages, Joe. It's time to move or be moved. In the case of Tyler Laughlin, he had to do the moving this time to work his way up to 5th.
Let's go in car with the number 12 of Tyler Laughlin. You can see just how hard he's wheeling that SK Modified around this track. Tony, I have to wonder if he's burnt up some of those tires underneath him out there as he continues to just wheel it as hard as he can, or it just could be a matter of setup. It's hard to say.
It is hard to say, no doubt. 8 laps to go when Majeski crosses the stripe this next time by, and my oh my, what a clinic Ty Majeski has put on here tonight. The gap nearly 4 seconds from Majeski back to Kevin Myers, and when you equate that to distance on the racetrack in a 12-13 second lap, that's essentially 1/3 of a lap from Majeski back to Kevin Myers, who rides 2nd. Bragg Jr. continues to ride 3rd. Then it's Luza and Laughlin finishing out the top 5. Keister, Osborne, Bose, Clampett, and Martin make out the top 10, with Jones, Peterson, Tucker, Lopez, and Knobloch continuing the rest of the field. And so far tonight, Joe, this has been a relatively clean SK Modified race. These races generally very fun to watch. And as we mentioned, great short track racing, resembling what you would normally see on your average Saturday or Friday night short track as we continue to watch this battle further back for 3rd. Great racing all around Lanier National Speedway.
Battle on the back now, trying to pick up position with time running out. Time is of the essence. And Tony, if these guys are going to make a move, Now is the time to do it. You no longer have time to second guess. You wheel the heck out of that car and hope you make the right decision.
Well, there's not much decision-making to be done, Joe. It's all a matter of just wheeling the car. Like you said, you're down to a couple laps to go. And in the case of Ty Majeski, that means it's pretty much over with. Across the stripe, 2 laps to go. One car sideways in front of the leader. Majeski has to take evasive action with a 4-second lead, Joe. That's not going to be a problem. Off turn 4, white flag in the air for Ty Majeski.
And one more time, Majeski will go around this 4/10 of a mile bull ring, and without ease, without impediment from anybody else out there, you'll have no problem collecting the checkered flag here in the first of our doubleheader tonight.
Majeski wins over Kevin Myers, Stan Bragg Jr., who nearly had a shot at the runner-up spot. Luza and Laughlin make up the top 5. Then comes Keister, Bose, Osborne, and Martin with Dylan Jones back in 10th. Final 5 in the running order: Clampett, Peterson, Tucker, Knobloch, and Jordy Lopez Jr. See if we can talk to these guys during our next race coming up from Stafford Motor Speedway, the super late model. Coming up here on iRacingNight on Fans Choice TV. Don't go away. We'll be right back with half number 2 of our doubleheader live from Stafford.
The NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series, powered by iRacing.com, has officially begun.
Man, we fly quickly. Beam us up, Scotty. Super late models here at the half mile at Stafford Motor Speedway. We go from Georgia to Massachusetts. It's a great, great time here on iRacing. 70 laps for the iRacing Super Late Model. Let's take you through this 16-car starting lineup. On the pole in the number 1, that is Justin Brooks. And to his outside, the guy we just saw, Ty Majeski. Hey, he must have been in the same beam we were. He'll be on the outside of row 1.
Ty Spearman, Joe Schaefer Jr. will start row number 2 in the 4 and 6 respectively.
Tim Barnes and Jacob Linkowitz rolls off in position number 6.
Alex Scribner, a familiar name here on Fans Choice on TV, will roll off position number 7. On the outside of him, another Linkowitz, James Linkowitz, position number 8.
Richard Bruce will pilot car number 10, and Justin Egan is in the 7th, starting 10th.
Row number 6 belongs to Casey Kerwin on the inside, Tim Bills on the outside.
Ryan Borges is in the number 5, and TJ Graves will be the wheelman on car number 11.
Mr. Excitement in car number 11 tonight. Alex Bergeron, Garrett Archer will round out the field of 16 super late models, getting ready to do business for 70 laps around the half mile here at Stafford.
And these, much like the SK Modified, a purpose-built race car you see very commonly at your average Friday, Saturday, Sunday night short track anywhere around the country. These cars about 2,700 pounds, pushing the boundaries of 600 plus horsepower. Big tires, big fenders, lots of downforce. and by golly, they make one heck of a show. Here we go. Field is off into turn number 1, and already a couple of cars leaning on one another as they work down the back straightaway. Joe Schaefer Jr., one of those cars, in fact, he is stuck or was stuck on the outside, able to slide back down to the bottom. Behind him, Barnes and Linkowitz now going at it as they work down the front side.
What's the saying, Tony? If it ain't rubbing, it ain't racing. There's a 13 now gets spun. 13 of Jacob Linkowitz goes sideways. He's going to recover it, but not without more contact for that number 9 machine of Alex Scribner. Scribner using the chrome horn early to get Linkowitz out of position. Now Linkowitz struggling as he continues.
And Joe, that's one of the things with this super late model. This car sometimes can be a little hard to handle on low air pressures. As the tires build up air, as they get more heat into them, it gets a little easier to drive. But also because this race car is made of what it's made of. In the physical world, so many lightweight components make up these cars. It's very easy to bend those components within the real car, number 1, and number 2, the simulator itself. So you've got to be careful with this race car and make sure you don't beat it up before it gets down to crunch time. Otherwise, you're going to have yourself a handful come lap number 7.
Which is certainly what nobody wants to see. It's a longer race. It's going to be shorter comparatively, but a long race for these guys at 70 laps. Justin Brooks using the apron to his advantage in turns number 1 as he's able to drive pilot it through. He will retain first. Tyler Majeski, Ty Spearman, Joe Schaefer, Tim Barnes, your top 5. And now everybody's starting to figure out getting the single file out here as they wait for those tires to warm up, those air pressures to build, and the grip on these cars to continue taking over as we get ready to run some more laps here.
You're on board the number 10 of Richard Bruce there, and you see what he sees further back in the field. And up front, things are starting to get tightened up just a little bit. The top 4 cars or so, Justin Brooks, Ty Majeski, Ty Spearman, and Joe Schaefer, they're pretty much all nose to tail, all within about a second of one another. And that is shaping up to be a pretty doggone good race up front. Ty Spearman, I think the weakest link in that chain right now, as he tries to hold off Joe Schaefer in the 6th. And again, down the front straightaway here at Stafford. And this racetrack, Joe, very unique. You run both ends very differently. Although it pretty much is symmetrical, it drives very different on both ends of the speedway.
As you ride on the roof cam of that number 6 car of Schaefer Jr., you're absolutely right. This almost runs like the paperclip, if you will, whereas you have to approach 1 and 2 completely different than you have to run 3 and 4. Again, let's see if we can get that blink cam out there so you can see what we're talking about as they get ready to go into turn 3 and 4 here. The 3 and 4, they can get right up to that white line and then really get off and then get back on that white line one more time to drive it through, as opposed to turns number 1 and 2, where you see them here having to use the apron to hook it around and give the speed they need to get through the turn.
It's almost like turns 1 and 2 has a very sharp entry compared to the rest of the racetrack. And you see that, as you said, Joe, with the way these lines play out in the racetrack. Watching this battle back for 5th, Alex Scribner in the 9. He started in the 7th spot. He has moved his way up to 5th now, getting by Tim Barnes in the number 12. And Scribner starting to work his way forward. He's got plenty of time to do so. Only 10 laps completed so far. So still a very long time to go. 60 laps left in this one. Now this race is a little bit of an exception, Joe. The super late model races do have caution flags, if memory serves me. So we very well could see a very opportune yellow at some point, where some of these drivers might be able to come down pit road for adjustments, a full tank of fuel, and or some sort of tires.
Definitely plausible, but not necessarily possible. We'll have to see how it plays out. So far, everybody running clean. Only one incident that was quickly corrected with no caution on the field 13 laps in. Remember, it's a 70-lap race, Tony, so if these guys want to make adjustments, they're going to have to hope for the caution flag to come out early, but not often.
And you're exactly right, Joe. They want one maybe about halfway or so. And if you're further back, you'd love to have one with about 5 or 10 laps to go, just to be able to give you a shot at making up some positions at the very last minute. Up front, Brooks and Majeski continue to be the top 2. In fact, that's how their iRating ranks here in this race. In other words, on the service, if you want to think of it as points, that's the 1 and 2 guy in points in these cars, running 1 and 2 in the race as we speak. And they are still right in each other's tire tracks. Nary a mistake by either one of them as they continue to circulate here at Stafford. This racetrack, again, very tricky, Joe, not just because the way you drive each corner differently, but because it is so flat. Lanier, that we saw a little bit ago, has a little bit more banking than Stafford. However, Stafford, just due to its sheer geometry, so easy to overdrive the corner because there isn't a whole lot there to catch you.
Oh no, you're absolutely right, but that's kind of the beauty of what makes this track so neat, unique, and so original and so unique. I remember a couple of years ago when you and I were calling a race at the real Hickory Motor Speedway, you saw a lot of late models sliding around, having a lot of fun out there because it is that very flat sort of track. These tracks make for a lot of very good racing, but they also make for a little bit of danger, which is exciting for everybody else.
Oh, anytime you can slide around and have fun in a race car, it's a good thing. And again, a lot of people may be watching iRacing #1 for the first time on Fans Choice. This is everything in this service. I think I counted earlier today, there's like 43 different types of race cars you can run on the iRacing service. Close to 100 different racetracks of all different styles, shapes, and lengths. And one of the ones we just saw, Joe, was the SK Modified at Lanier, and I think Stan Bragg Jr. has got a link to us, and I think you've got a hold of him. Got it finished third in the SK Mod race a few minutes ago.
That's right, Stan Bragg Jr. joining us here now in the broadcast. Stan, a lot of fun watching you guys race out there. How was the car tonight?
The car was fast. The team put me in a good setup, and just poor qualifying put me in the back. So once got thinned out, it was going to be hard to get by Kevin there. All the laps ran, but I can't complain. It was just a great run.
Definitely a lot of fun watching you guys work these cars. This is really kind of a treat for our new users. How would you describe watching SK Racing? I'll get back to that in just a second.
Trouble on the track. James Linkowitz goes around over in turn #3, and looks like might have had a little bit of help from the number 16 of Garrett Archer. Kind of got right reared into the outside wall, so that will bring out the caution flag for the first time here tonight on lap number 21. They've had a little bit of a history earlier in this race going after one another. Linkowitz pretty banged up, and there you see on the replay Archer just catching the right rear of Linkowitz and sending him around to the spin cycle over in turn #3, Joe. That brings about what we expect would be pit stops for everybody up front. And in fact, that's going to be the case for all of the leaders. Nobody stays on the speedway, at least up front. Wholesale pit stops for all.
Very, very tight pit road as Justin Brooks leads them down at 35 miles per hour down the very, very narrow pit road. Brooks up front, Majeski right behind him, Ty Spearman, Joe Schaefer, Tim Barnes, all in there. Now it looks like Jacob Linkowitz, the 6 machine, having troubles getting into his car. Check, that's to be the 9 machine having problems getting into his stall. That's Alex Scribner, who's been dominant all night long. First man out of the track will be Justin Brooks. Immediately behind him, the 6 of Joe Schaefer.
Long stop for Ty Majeski, who was in second. He finally pulls away, as do others, including the number 4 of Spearman. And this is really something that'll mix the field up, our pit stops, Joe. And there's a couple of reasons for that. A lot of people are so used to seeing the Sprint Cup Series teams and stars with their 11 and 12-second pit stops, 4 tires and a tank of fuel. These super late models are not designed like that. Most of these, in order to essentially mimic the actual race car, because these cars are not meant to do live pit stops in most cases. They take a jug of fuel versus a quick dump can. The wide 5 wheel pattern makes it harder to change tires in real life, and thus takes longer in the sim. And kind of the same with the SK Modified, who our guest right now, Stan Bragg Jr. Joe, you were just talking with him before our action so rudely interrupted you, but not much different from a Modified as lights are out on top of the pace car.
No, absolutely not. And actually, I was going to ask Stan Bragg real quick before we go back to Green Flag Racing, how would, if for someone who's never seen this before, for someone who's uninitiated, who only knows Sprint Cup and Xfinity cars, how would you describe this style of racing from your perspective?
Oh, the SK Modified is just your typical short track car. I mean, everything comes down to track position, and if you're willing to use the bumper, you're going to use it. If not, you got to try to do it clean. And it all comes down to basically qualifying and long run setup, especially for the SK Mod, since there's no qualifying. I mean, it's just great short track racing. It's a great short track racing car. It's probably one of the best in iRacing.
Stan Bragg Jr. joining us in the booth. We certainly appreciate hearing from you as we're back to Green Flag Racing in Stafford.
Certainly glad to have Bragg with us in finishing third in the first half of the doubleheader at Lanier in the SK Modified. Meanwhile, we're watching this great super late model race up front. Ty Majeski, who got mired on pit road, a little bit longer stop than maybe he would have desired. He is back to third, trying to work over Joe Schaefer Jr., and both of them are chasing down Justin Brooks. And Brooks had a moment off turn 2 just a half a lap ago, Joe. Got a little sideways with the temperature not quite underneath him in the tires yet. And whoa, way up the racetrack goes Joe Schaefer Jr. Whether that was intentional or not, I don't think Ty Majeski cares. Majeski now up to second. Move Schaefer back to third. This is exactly what we had before the caution a few laps ago. Brooks and Majeski with Schaefer and Scribner the next pair.
And this is exactly what we've been talking about all night. Good, hard, short track racing in a very light car that is susceptible, especially in those first few laps after a pit stop. What you're seeing here, guys, is what you would see any given Saturday night in any town across the United States that happens to have a little tiny bull ring with 16 drivers who want to win it all and win it big. Justin Brooks, Ty Majeski, Joe Schaefer, your top three. Now Alex Scribner, a little bit high as Ty Spearman trying to look to open the door. Not going to happen this time. 30 in the books.
Just love watching these things circulate around the racetrack. These drivers, the virtual wheel, trying to manhandle these race cars. And there's such a driver, I don't want to say driver-friendly race car, but drivers love these machines because they can wrestle these cars. There's problems, trouble off turn number 4. And caution is out for the second time here tonight. Looks like TJ Graves going to be the victim of this one. And kind of saw it out of the corner of my eye, and looks like the number 13 of Jacob Leakowitz caught a piece of this one, dove in on the apron. Car washed up, got into Graves and around Graves and went. Great move by the 15 of Alex Bergeron to avoid him, and what could have been a 3 or 4 car pileup, luckily only a single car spin, Joe.
Well, Mr. Excitement certainly lives up to his name as he spins out in front of the second half of the field. Good news is, doesn't look like a whole lot of serious damage to the love machine of Graves. Looks like it's going to be cosmetic damage alone. He may need new tires if they have them down on pit road. Jacob Linkowitz, however, gets away with the steal of the century.
And looks like on pit road, Joe Schaefer Jr., one of the leaders, decided to come down and get service on his machine. So he will be in and out of the pit lane. Same with TJ Graves. And as we mentioned, some of these stops take a little longer because these cars not meant for hot pit stops. They are your average Saturday night car. They are meant for cost containment, effectiveness, weight, not so much speed on pit stops, but everybody gets away scot-free as far as going a lap down, Joe. And I think one of our other SK Modified competitors has joined us here as well, who was running second but had an unfortunate spin around halfway, and I think that's Bill Martins, and you've caught up with him.
That's right, Bill Martin joining us here in the booth after that race. And Bill, let's talk about your incident that took you out to second. What had just happened from your perspective?
Apparently I was taking it too easy and got comfortable, and the car decided, hey, guess what? Don't get too comfortable. And it just whipped around on me. Not sure why. I did a ton of practice before that race, so it was a bummer. It had looked like it'd be a pretty easy second.
Lights are off, 1 lap to go, real quick. You say you can't get too comfortable in these cars. How would you describe driving one of these cars from your perspective?
They can really bite you. They have just a ton of grip, an absolute ton of grip. You can get away with a lot, but if you try to get away with a little too much, they bite you, and that's what happens. I got a little easy on it. It bit me in the butt.
Bill, why don't you hang out with us here in the booth for just another minute, because we're sure there's some more stuff we want to get to you with about the SK mods. Right now, green flag back on the track. Justin Brooks out front, and now the battle is for third.
That's between Ty Spearman in the 4, Alex Scribner in the 9. Right there in the middle of that is Jacob Linkowitz. And just like we had before we went back green, tight nose-to-tail, side-by-side racing. Richard Bruce, Casey Kerwin behind him also going at it. A couple of Fords there, looks like. A couple of GM products surrounding them too. So racing all around the half mile again here at Stafford. Up front, it's a 5-6 car pack trying to set the pace. And whoa, watch out behind them. couple of cars sideways. In fact, the 3 of Tim Bills up and into the Armco in turn number 4. No caution yet for Tim Bills and his Chevrolet. He'll keep going, but the fiberglass and the plastic bumper covers are certainly damaged on that number 3. Tough break for Tim Bills. And like a lot of these guys, Joe, trying to run the entire season of these super late models. And I think that while we're at it, talking to Bill Martin, and Bill, you're running the entire season of the SK Modified. You're one of those hardcore guys that love that race car. What's it like to run for a season championship? Trouble, Joe
on the track.
Schaefer
It's
Jr.
car number 6, Joe Schaefer Jr. once again in trouble, and he's going to have some company with him. It's going to be the 10 machine, the 7 all-involved major incident for the 6 as he goes flipping down the backstretch.
I'll have to come back to Bill Martin for that one, but yeah, Joe, that car just got overcorrected, and he ended up, after the 8 machine of James Linkowitz caught it, then Schaefer overcorrected, got into the outside wall, and just a perfect timing, if you will, for Garrett Archer, drove the 6 car into the wall. That put him up on his side, then his lid. He got pile driven by Tim Barnes in the number 12, and somehow ended up back on his wheels. Also catching a piece of it was TJ Graves and the 10 of Richard Bruce, and all that started, Joe, just by one little bobble off turn number 2. Again, not unlike any normal Saturday night short track where one little mistake can wipe out 4, 5, 6 cars at a time.
Meanwhile, down on pit road, everyone trying to get a little bit something extra to hopefully go the next 20 laps without incident. Ty Spearman will be the first one off pit road after it looks like he got tires and fuel. Ryan Borges will follow him. Alex Bergeron behind him. Ty Majeski, and then a 3-way battle to get off that very, very narrow pit road. Casey Kerwin wins it. Jacob Linkowitz loses it as Justin Brooks will get around him. Alex Scribner and James Linkowitz round out your top 10 getting off pit road. Let's go back down to Bill Martin real quick. And Tony was just asking you, Bill, about running this entire season in this SK Modified. How much fun is that?
It's a lot of work. When they did the new build, there wasn't much that changed as far as the setups went, which was really beneficial. Didn't have to change much at all. But it's a lot of fun, and I got some great teammates that helped make it a lot easier than it would be. Oh, it's gonna be hard now, because we had these 3 giant splits, and finishing 9th in one of them is kind of detrimental to the points race, but we'll see what I can do.
You know, the cool thing about what you're doing and what other guys are doing, the iRacing sim, is there's no money involved. There's no prizes. You guys are doing this for the love of sport, which is really awesome.
Yeah, it makes a big difference, too. It's something that I had ranted about not too long ago was the way that, the Cup Series and everything work these days, where, it's not always the talented guys that reign supreme. But, here everybody's equal. It doesn't matter what you're worth, who you are. If you're good, and everybody will see it.
Bill Martin, thank you for joining us here in the booth for iRacing Night on FansChoice.tv. Green flag back out on the field, and it's a 4-car leading the pack.
It is Spearman. Oh, Majeski in the outside wall. Hard into the outside wall was Ty Majeski. Just clobbered the right side of his number 2 Ford, and that's certainly going to affect the handling of that car, no doubt, as we continue on here at Stafford. Top 5 now, single file.
More trouble. Car number 8, James Linkowitz, goes around and backs into the safer barrier. No, check out, he will not, but he will go around in front of a handful of cars, and out of abundance of caution, they will throw the caution flag one more time. He is involved with the 12 machine of Timothy Barnes, who looked like he helped him get around. So 2 cars getting involved, and that will bring out the 3rd caution of the evening.
And that one was completely avoidable, Joe. Going to call a spade here. The number 12 of Tim Barnes, all the way to the grass. I mean, he drove that thing in there so hard it was like he expected to go to Mars. Of course, it's not just him. Also, the 8 car kind of pinched him down a little bit and kind of blocked him down with the grass. And unfortunately, that's what's going to happen. And both cars catch the worst of it with damage after the incident. Just a racing deal, I guess, but certainly completely avoidable with James Linkowitz and the number 12 of Tim Barnes. That wreck should not have been.
What do we often say in these situations, Tony? Welcome to big-time racing. And in that case, that was definitely a big-time racing move that I'm sure he's going to hear about later on down the line, but this is cool. This is exactly what you would see at any given Saturday night at your local short track with guys that you know in your own neighborhood running these cars. That's what makes, right there, you just saw it right there. That's what makes this kind of racing so special across America.
It does, Joe, and I have the privilege of one of the things I do during the weekends. I get to work with the Cars Racing Tour, which runs super late model stocks, and a lot of people might have heard about David Gilliland, the Sprint Cup Series driver. His son in a Cars Racing Tour event this past Saturday night picked up his very first late model win. And how did he do it, Joe? Kind of like what we just saw. He didn't wreck the guy, but he moved him. He drove him off into turn 3, used the bumper, loosened him up, got under him, and they were beating and banging, rubbing fenders for a lap and a half, trying to figure out who was going to win, and it was fun to watch. And that is why we all love short track racing. One reason we were so excited about running these two races tonight, because this is what we live and breathe. We love short track racing with a passion. It is the lifeblood of this sport, and we kind of made it our gospel mission to expose the world to short track racing that they haven't seen, and thank goodness iRacing and Fans Choice agree.
You really made it your mission, I'd say there, Chief.
Well, not that you disagree with me.
I didn't say I did.
Well,
I said that you are an excellent evangelist for the sport of short track racing.
all hail the half mile.
Preach it, Brother Tony. Less than a lap left to go before we're back to green flag racing. They are doubled up. Ty Spearman still in control of this field. Ryan Borges on his outside. Alex Bergeron, Justin Brooks, Ty Majeski, your top 5 as we get ready to spin them up one more time when we go back to green flag racing. 20 to go. It's going to be go time when we get going.
Go time is right. 50 laps down, 20 laps to go to lap number 70 when we throw the black and white checkered flag. And hello, look at this, through the middle, Justin Brooks. What a move, 3 wide up to the outside of the racetrack. Got the spots, but now he might be in danger of losing them once again. Ryan Borges is there, Alex Bergeron, and hello, Brooks into the outside Armco. He'll hang on to it, will stay green, but now 2 contenders eliminated after trips into the outside wall, Joe.
Hard wall hit. That's going to definitely hurt him later on down the line. Now the 14 and 9, 13, all 3
Oh,
wide.
that's not going to work.
14 and 9, boom, they're beating and banging back there. They'll settle it out before they go into turns number 3 and 4 for that 13 machine. Jacob Linkowitz finds a way around Alex Scribner. Alex Scribner's not happy.
I don't think Scribner would be, and you see the replay here in the box of some of the stuff here in the last 2 laps. It's kind of hard to keep track of it all. There's so much that happens just in a matter of 1 lap here at Stafford. Further back, Richard Bruce trying to get under Tim Barnes. That's the first side-by-side battle, but up front, it is Spearman taking off, leaving Alex Bergeron in his dust, and Bergeron's doing a great job of making that number 15 very, very wide, Joe. Majeski finally gets underneath of him, move Ty Majeski up to second. That's about a picture perfect of a slide job as you can pull on asphalt right there that Majeski just performed.
Ty Spearman out to dinner, though, as he can't even be bothered by what's going on behind him as the 5 machine almost gets sideways. That 5 machine piloted by Ryan Borges, he almost lost it as he gets into turns number 1 and 2, saves it 3 and 4. Now the 9 and 13 side by side. Alex Scribner trying to get his position back on Jacob Linowitz. Linowitz doesn't want to give it to him, but he's not going to have a choice as he finds a way around. Now Linkowitz trying to do the switcheroo. He
backed the corner up, turned down, back underneath of Alex Scribner, but Scribner gets the run off the top of the racetrack. Back into turn 3, Linkowitz shoves that nose underneath the fuel cell of Alex Scribner. Can't quite get him out of the groove yet, and now Scribner finally able to scamper away by about a car length or so as you see it from the front bumper, the 13 of Jacob Linkowitz, and it looks like that has finally settled down. Up front, Spearman, the lead over Ty Majeski, it looks like is shrinking, Joe. It was 1.47 seconds last time at the line. This time by, it is 1.375. So Majeski is closing. Question is, will he A, get a caution, or B, be able to reel in Ty Spearman? The lap count does not favor him right now. 58 laps to go this time, but this battle back here for 3rd through about 7th, it might bring out the yellow flag because it is getting hot and heated Bergeron holding everybody off, but look at that. Hello, Chrome Horn, I'm back here. Move out of my way, says Ryan Borges.
Ryan Borges will not be denied. He will not take no for an answer. Every time they get in the turn, he is hitting him, and he hits him again. 15 gets the corner that time, and now the 5 is going to move the 15 out of the way. So Alex Bergeron gone, and now here comes Alex Scribner. He's going to try to get the position on the 15 as well. And there goes the 15. 15 sideways into the 9, and there is a call. 13 now gets a piece. There's a caution flag we've been waiting for.
Linkowitz gets swept up into it. Casey Kerwin caught a small piece. Tim Bills might have doinked that front nose once again, but all that just good old-fashioned, hard-nosed, short-track racing. It all started with a bump and run, and then Alex Scribner got a little aggressive trying to get underneath the Bergeron, and I think Bergeron might have got a little aggressive trying to hold him off as well, and all it took was that little bit of contact off turn 2, and through the grass, both of those cars went. Bergeron for the wild ride, and then the number 9 of Scribner went around backwards, back up into traffic, and that's where we really ran into some problems, Joe.
Absolutely we did, which sets us up for a shootout with less than 10 laps left to go here on iRacing Night on VansChoice.tv. This is exactly, we couldn't paint a better picture. We couldn't paint a better ending, Tony. This is exactly what we wanted to see, and there you have it.
Again, typical Saturday night, or in this case, Tuesday night, short track racing. Comes down to a shootout of just a handful of laps, and Joe, the way these cars react, the way these tires react, you're going to have just enough time to get heat in the tires, muscle this car around a half mile, and hope you can get around the guys you try to get around. Something tells me Ty Majeski and Ty Spearman are about ready to have a slugfest up front, and there will not be points at the end of this one. It will be one single KO punch, whether that's a bumper, whether that's a fence, whether that's something. There will be some sort of event that's going to dictate the outcome of this race.
Well, Tony, I think you sort of touched on it, but I think you missed the most important factor in all of that, and that is the human factor. Because that human factor, when you get someone reacting who's a little bit hot, who's a little bit ready, who's a little bit anxious, that changes everything. And that changes how the complexion will run out here on the track. Now, if you want to be one of those drivers, we've got a promotion for you to get you into the game here in 2015 and beyond. Pay for 1 month of iRacing. We'll give you 2 free, plus we'll give you the late model as our gift for trying out iRacing.com. Go to iRacing.com, use our promo code 2015-PSRTV, 2015-PSRTV. You'll get buy 1, get 2 months free, and the late model as our gift. And that'll get you started getting ready to do some green flag racing yourself in 2015 as we get ready to go back to green flag racing here at Stafford.
Lights will go out this time by. That's the conclusion of lap number 64. It will be a five lap shootout when we come to the green. 65 will go atop the scoring pylon. A pair of ties up front. Spearman on the inside, Majeski to the outside. Ryan Borges in the number 5 will restart third. Then comes the race-long leader, Justin Brooks. He's got a fast hot rod with Scribner, Kerwin, Bruce, and Bills. The remainder of the first 4 rows. 12 cars remain in this one. Who's it going to be? Pace car is off to the safety of pit road, and off the final corner, green flag is out quickly. Spearman to the lead. Behind them, Ty Majeski ducks back in line. Lots of cars up the racetrack. Among them, the number 9 is Scribner. Bill's up there as well. The bumpers are being used. The shoves are being given. Leaders race off to turn 3.
One car goes into the wall. It's going to be the white car of Alex Bergeron. He gets up, check that it's going to be the, it is Bergeron. Check that, it's going to be Bergeron. He gets up in the wall. The 15 finds a way to rescue it, though. No caution out on the field, but he did get sideways and went nose first into the wall. Meanwhile, back up front, Spearman holding off Majeski and Brooks, but the 2 cars starting to look aggressive.
Oh, he bounced it off the fence that time in turn number 4, but Majeski is doing what he needs to, using this car up. 2.5 laps to go. Spearman got a little bit of a run off turn number 2. He opened it up by a mere few inches over Ty Majeski. Into turn number 3. Up the racetrack goes Spearman. Majeski gets his car turned. Popsicle sticks are in the air. 1 mile left here in iRacing Night.
race will end in some way, shape, or form. The question is, will it end under caution or will it end under green? Only one more circuit, and we'll find out. Spearman, Majeski still battling for position number 1, nose to tail, as they continue to run behind them. A pack of 3 trying to fight for the finish. White flag in the air. We will end under green. Majeski fighting him off as we continue to battle for the lead.
Off turn number 2, Majeski hasn't been very good here, but in turns 3 and 4, that's where he's been so strong. Will he be able to move Spearman? Majeski sailed it in, but couldn't get the job done. Ty Spearman's going to win here on iRacing Night.
And what a win from a wild race for Spearman. Spearman started third, found his way up front, and even amongst the cautions, was able to make it all come together for him. Ty Spearman, your winner, and a well-deserved win in what I can only describe as pure Americana.
This is why, again, we love short track racing. We saw the bump, the grind, the bumper, the move, the bump and run, everything you could ever want at short track racing. Look at this. Top 3 going to go the front straightaway, just like you would see on any Saturday night here at Stafford Motor Speedway. And, well, maybe not the third place guy doing donuts, but nonetheless, they're all up there. Spearman, Majeski, and Brooks. And Joe, such a great race tonight. And man, again, I hope we can do this more often on iRacing Night. I love good old-fashioned short track racing. I mean, heck, we've got Xfinity-style cars coming to Bristol sometime soon, don't we?
I believe you're absolutely right, but you're absolutely right. Tony, this is where racing is born. This is where racing lives. Forget about the 43 guys you see on Sunday. This is where all the action is, and no matter where you go in America, you will always be able to find this kind of racing, this exciting, action-driven racing, anywhere in the world, which makes it so personable and which makes it so exciting.
Certainly does. Joe, we're going to take a quick break here on iRacing Night on Fans Choice TV. Don't go away. We'll be right back and talk to some of the guys who just finished this Super Late Model Showdown.
The NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series, powered by iRacing.com, has officially begun.
On the outside, contact made. 56 slides it into 4. Who's going to be at the stripe? Dead even. Give it to Ryan Truex. Truex is your winner over Tandy.
Welcome back to iRacing Night here on Fans Choice TV. Just finished our doubleheader. SK Mods at Lanier and Super Late Models up at the great Stafford Motor Speedway. So glad you could join us. Short show here tonight, but that's the way we love it. More racing, crammed into a smaller time frame, that is certainly a very, very good thing, Joe. And cannot ask for much more than that. This was a fun night here on the short tracks.
Oh, we had a lot of fun watching these cars do their thing and do their thing in a very, very controlled setting. These guys had a lot of fun, and what's more important is we had a lot of fun watching this. We only hope you guys had as much fun as we did calling the race.
Oh, certainly hope so, and I think some of these guys are joining us now for interviews, so to speak, and we get to do this through the miracle of technology because, well, we're cool like that. And this is iRacing. We are racing all the way around the globe, all the way around the world, be it in Wisconsin or be it in the Midwest or the Northeast or Thailand or wherever you're at. Anybody anywhere in the world can partake in iRacing, and Ty Majeski is joining us. And Ty, that looked like a fun race. You picked up the SK Mod win first off at Lanier. Tell us about that race. Was it as easy as it looked? Apparently having some issues getting Ty Majeski on the line. Let's try this again, Ty. Glad to have you here joining us. First off, the SK Mod race at Lanier, was that race as easy as it looked? Because it looked like you had the field covered.
Well, Tony, it looks like we're still having some troubles connecting with him.
Okay, try this a third time. Third time's the charm, Joe. We'll figure all this out at some point.
Third time's the charm. Let's try it
Eventually.
again.
Yeah, let's try this one more time. Let's just do it simple. Majeski, have you got us on the line?
I got you loud and clear.
Hey, look at that. It's amazing what happens when you push all the right buttons. Now I can ask you the question again. First off, you ran both races tonight. You ran the SK Mod at Lanier and the Super Late Model at Stafford. Let's start with the SK Mod. You had the field covered, or so it appeared. Was that race as easy as it looked, and was it just one of those things to get you in the frame of mind to come run the Super Late Model?
Well, first of all, I didn't know that they were actually broadcasting the super late race till about noon today when I saw it in the forum. So I wasn't too prepared for the super late model race. I was really focused on the SK the last couple days and getting that setup dialed in. I've been qualifying since early on Monday. So just trying to get the pole. You know, a lot of iRacing is track position, and it's real tough to pass. And all the guys on my team, we got our setup dialed in, and my team had a 1-2-3, so it was the SK race was awesome.
That's always a good thing. And then you talk about the super late model. You said that obviously was not as big of a focus. We saw you use the car up. Now, this is a car that you run in real life. You had great success down in New Smyrna Beach, Florida during the World Series of short track asphalt racing. Almost won the championship for that series over the course of Speed Weeks. Came up just a little bit short after an accident, but what's it like to go run the virtual car compared to the real one? I know there's got to be a lot of that you can take back and forth as far as racecraft and mentality, but how fun is it, too, just to get out here and rub fenders with these guys?
Oh, yeah, it's a lot of fun to do in my free time. You know, I live, eat, and breathe racing. You know, if I'm not at the shop or at the racetrack racing, I'm on iRacing turning laps and just trying to get better. And I think the biggest thing that iRacing helps me with is my consistency. You don't have that butt feel, so to speak, in iRacing as you do in real life. So in a way, iRacing can actually be more difficult. It's more hand-eye coordination, and that makes racing in real life that much easier. So it's really cool to have gone to a racetrack that's actually on iRacing down in New Smyrna, and it was, I almost felt like I was there before when I went there with my real car because I ran so many laps in the Super there. So yeah, it was really cool to see the similarities and what a good job iRacing does.
Now let's focus real quickly on the super late model race itself before we let you go. Final 5-lap shootout. Seems like every Saturday night short track comes down to something like this. Was there anything differently you could have done to get by Ty Spearman? It seems like you tried everything, maybe just a little too hard into turn 3 the final time. What was there that you tried, and was there anything different you could have done to maybe get the W?
Yeah, it's so tough to it's so tough to pass on iRacing, especially at a track with like Stafford, and the weather was so warm and it was real slick, and it was hard to get forward drive off, especially turn underneath somebody. He had 2 tires there at the end. I mean, hindsight's always 20/20. I probably should have took 2 tires at that last pit stop, but that's the way it goes. And Spearman's a great guy, one of the cleanest racers on iRacing, and I wasn't about to hit him out of the way for the win. So congratulations to him on the win.
Well, and the winner, Ty Spearman, Ty Majeski, thank you for joining us. And we're going to talk real quickly to Ty Spearman. But best of luck, Ty. I know you're pursuing the SK Mod Championship, as well as the super late model stuff too, both in real life and as well on the sim too. So best of luck in all those pursuits.
Thanks a lot. I really appreciate it.
That's Ty Majeski, the second place finisher tonight in the super late model and the winner of the SK Mod race. And I do believe that Joe has gotten hooked up with the winner of the super late model race, the other Ty Spearman. Joe?
I am told that we are connected to Ty Spearman. Ty, it's Joe in the booth. You got me, buddy?
Yeah, Joe.
Ty for Spearman joining us now here on iRacingNight. And first off, congratulations on a big win here at Stafford Motor Speedway. Coming from third to first, what was the secret?
Well, after I got off work today, I started working on a setup, and you know, the guys over with Wheeling and Dealing and All Balls Racing, we kind of all work together in ways on setups, and you know, just I needed to find some type of setup that would have a little bit of grip off, maybe a little tight, but I was able to really come off the corner. I felt like pretty good, and you know, the car stayed pretty consistent all the runs that we had. So I think really coming off the corner, I think that's where my setup prevailed.
Well, your setup certainly looks strong out there on the track. How crazy is it running with all of these guys on fanschoice.tv tonight? Everyone was driving real aggressive. Everyone had a real good look about them. How much fun did you guys just have out there on the cars?
Well, anytime you're out front, you're having a good time. So, you know, a lot of times, you know, in these super lates, you're on the, you know, you're on the short tracks, and most of these tracks, if not, well, pretty much all of them are one groove, and when you're stuck mid-pack, you almost have to bump people out of the way to actually pass, and that's one thing I knew that Majeski would run me hard, but I knew that he would run me clean, and he would expect the same out of me. So it's just a real good night. I really enjoyed it.
Ty, definitely looked like you guys had a great time out here. What's next for Ty Spearman? Are we going to see you running more late model races, or is there something else in the works?
Super late model racing is my bread and butter. I love the short tracks.
We certainly love watching a good short track race here on iRacingNight. Ty Spearman, thanks for joining us here on iRacingNight on fanschoice.tv, your winner of the super late model event at Stafford Motor Speedway. Now, Tony, I believe we've got one more interview before we're done here tonight.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out who we're hooked up with here. Justin Brooks or Ryan Borges, finishing both of them inside the top 5. And Justin, you started on the pole of this race, led the early laps, and then pit strategy and other things kind of played into the last few laps of this one. What was the difference in making your way forward? Was it a pit strategy call that cost you this race, or was it a matter of simply finding speed in the race car? Well, I thought we had Justin Brooks. Apparently, we didn't have Justin Brooks by any means. That's 2 for 2 I'm batting, Joe. 2 for 2.
Yeah, you're batting 1,000 there, aren't you, Chief?
Yeah, I'm doing great. I'm really doing great.
Let's try Ryan Borges, who finished 4th tonight after a 13th place start. Ryan, you got us, buddy?
Yeah, I can hear you guys.
See, they want to talk to me, Tony. I don't know what your problem is.
Whatever. Go ahead.
Whatever. Ryan Borges starts 13th tonight, finds his way into a top 5 finish position, number 4. Ryan, track position is everything on Stafford. So how did you do it? How did you make it from effectively the back of the pack to the front?
Well, to be honest with you, I wasn't focused on this race at all today. I was focused on the SK race, but unluckily, I missed the top splitting by maybe 2 or 3 spots. So I guess I figured might as well run this, try to get on the broadcast, and just went from there. I really didn't practice at all for this one. Didn't really have much of a set, but I was working with TJ Graves in the race. And I guess I just really played the pit strategy, played the cautions, tried to get out of wrecks, and tried to get out front towards the end, and that's what I did. I stayed out. Actually, I didn't stay out. I took 2 with about 30 to go, and I was able to just hold it up there because there was a lot of wrecks towards the end of that. But I don't think I had anything for the win there, as you could tell.
But still, top 5 ain't bad. Now, let's talk about pit road. Obviously, strategy is a whole lot different because these cars are not built for that quick pit that you'll see in the Sprint Cup race or an Xfinity-style race. How much different then do you have to adjust your pit strategy in order to make it work when caution flags come out and when opportunity strikes for you to come down pit road?
Well, obviously it's a lot bigger of a time difference taking 2 or 4 or taking fuel in these cars, so it's really more beneficial if you're getting down to the end to either take 2 or to stay out, and that's why you see a lot of guys in these races playing some crazy pit strategy, because the tires, they don't fall off as bad. Well, I wouldn't say that. They fall off, but not as bad as in the A car and the Xfinity car. And it's way harder to pass on these tracks. It's more of a single groove track, and there's less room and more bumping and banging. So you really just gotta try to get yourself as close to the front as you can, but and hope that you've got enough of a car to stay up there.
Ryan Borges finds a way to make it through here at Stafford Motor Speedway. Starts 13th, finishes 4th. Great run tonight, Ryan.
Thank you. I gotta thank TJ Graves and for helping me out. He didn't have that great of a race, but he definitely helped me out with the setup there.
That is Ryan Borges. Once again, thanks for joining us here on iRacing Night on Fans Choice on TV. And Tony, I'm a little hesitant, but let's try it one more time.
Supposedly they tell me the button's going to work this time, Joe. We'll find out if it
Let's
really
find
does
out.
or not. Yeah, let's find out is right. Justin Brooks, can you hear my voice?
Yeah, it's 10-4. You got a copy?
Hey!
Hey, second team 30th time is the charm. Justin, want to talk to you real quick, of course, about the super late model race. You led most of this race. Did you expect this race to play out like it did, to where pit strategy and track position were going to become king like they did in the final 30 laps?
Well, I knew, pit strategy would come into effect, but not like it did tonight. I didn't expect all these yellows to happen, and we had a great car tonight. I mean, we was, just as fast as Majeski. I mean, we was just riding the first 30 laps or so before the cautions come out, and I made a bad decision to take 2 tires whenever my spotter told me that some other guys were taking 2, and I just did it out of panic, and ultimately it was a bad decision. I let Majeski go, and then we had a caution, and we took 4 tires, come out like 6th, and just got caught up in the wrong end of a deal going in turn 3 with a number 15, got put hard into the wall, and I think if that one had happened, we would have had a shot for the win. The car was real fast, like I said, but, it's a shame it had to end that way.
Sometimes that's short track racing, though. Near the end of the race, it looked like you might have a shot at Majeski. We had that late race restart, and you bonsaied in there 3 wide in the middle. Did you have second thoughts by the time you were stuffed in that sandwich?
Nah, I was trying to do what I could to get back to the front, but, man, after I had the damage, the car wasn't, nowhere near as good. It was so snappy loose, center off, and I was driving the wheels off of it, trying to keep up with the top 2, but, I couldn't do anything with them. If I'd have drove it any harder, I would have wound up being up in the catch fence or something like that.
Well, it's probably a good thing you didn't, Justin. But, hey, we had fun watching it tonight on Fans Choice and iRacing Night, and I'm sure you had a lot of people cheering you on.
Yeah, man, it was great. Thank you guys for doing this again.
That's Justin Brooks, finishes 3rd here tonight in the super late model race. And, Joe, wow. iRacing Night on Fans Choice. It only took us about an hour to get 2 races under our belts. I wish we had another half a dozen to go because, as we've stated 100 times, short track racing is the bread and butter of American racing when it comes to oval racing of any sort. You got to support your local short track, and if you haven't already done so, make yourself a regular at a weekly short track wherever it is around the country. Wisconsin, Maine, North Carolina, whatever it is. You can find a lot of the things you can learn not only in real life in a race car there, but you can find a lot of things you can learn in a virtual car there as well, Joe, to where you catch the bug and you realize, hey, I want to do this for real, but let me get my feet wet in the iRacing sim first.
No, absolutely. I mean, that's the cool thing about doing this on iRacing. It's cheaper, it's easier, and frankly, it hurts a whole lot less when you hit that wall. So if you want to try your hand at it and really kind of get a feel for it, feel for what small town Saturday night racing is all about, go to iRacing.com, and we've got a great promo for you, Tony. Buy 1 month, get 2 free, plus we'll throw in the late model as well, so you can kind of get a feel of what you saw here tonight at Stafford Motor Speedway. Go to iRacing.com, use our promo code 2015-PSRTV. You see it there at the bottom of your screen, 2015-PSR TV for that buy 1 month, get 2 free, and the late model promo, all bundled together so you can try your hand at late model racing before, well, you never know, before you end up at your short track doing the same thing like Tony here did a few weeks ago. Though that was a Legends car, right?
It was still a short track here in the North Carolina region. A lot of tracks run Legends cars, street stocks, late models, modifieds. A lot of the things we've seen here on iRacing Night just tonight alone. So certainly a very, very good idea for everybody. Joe, this time next Tuesday night, we will be elbows deep into the next edition of the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series, round number 4 from the Texas Motor Speedway. We've had 2 winners in 3 races. Kenny Humpy is 2 in a row after winning at Las Vegas and winning at Auto Club Speedway. Texas is a horse of a different color, but it's still another one of the intermediate racetracks. Do you think Kenny Humpy can go back to victory lane next Tuesday night right here on Fans Choice?
Well, you see Kenny Humpy get very strong on those bigger tracks. When we go to Texas, it's going to be a 1.5 miles. It's going to be a weird quad oval, and it's going to have multiple lanes out there for guys to go strong. Kenny Humpy has probably the most to lose out there just because he is so strong right now. But don't be surprised if you see a 1.5 mile specialist like a Nick Ottinger try to steal that win away from him. No matter what you can say about it, Texas is going to be a shootout. Get your pistols loaded because we're going to have one heck of a race at Texas in 1 week's time. Bang, bang.
Yeah, we're going to have a heck of a shootout. And for that matter, Joe, Nick Ottinger, as we mentioned on Fans Choice, as we recorded the recap here just last week, while we're recording it, the news broke. 2 new teammates at the Gale Force Racing Stables. You can catch that recap here on fanschoice.tv. Go back and watch it in case you missed the Auto Club race. You can see everything that happened then as well, plus catch our interview with Kenny Humpy. But it's going to be fun. Texas is always a very, very fun racetrack to go to. It's certainly a really, really cool place to go. And speaking of that recap, well, you don't even have to search for it. We're going to play it for you here in just a little bit once we go off the air. But we look forward to seeing you next Tuesday night right here. Same time, same place, same channel for the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series, round number 4 from the Texas Motor Speedway. On behalf of the entire PSR TV and Fans Choice TV crew, Joe Cortez, my name is Tony Stevens, saying good night, and we'll see you next Tuesday for the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series at Texas. See you then.
The outside contact made. 56 slides in at a 4. Who's going to be at the stripe? Dead even. Give it to Ryan Truex. Truex is your winner over Tandy. Lawton. And green flag is out. We are underway for round number 3 at the Auto Club Speedway. Kenny Humpy, Chad Lawton, they're on the same team. You better believe they're trying to work together on this start.
Chad Lawton making a very early pass. Kenny Humpy will drop to position number 2. Chad Lawton will find his way to lead lap number 2 here at Auto Club Speedway.
And Kenny Humpy will be looking to navigate around Tyler Hill's number 9 as they fan out down the front straightaway.
Oh, Nick Ottinger! Oh, hello, Nick Ottinger. How did he save that race car? Never mind, problems. Tyler Hudson, many others. Crabtree is in it. There's a major melee on the back straightaway. Matt Busa is upside down.
16 cars, by my liberal estimate, had some piece of that race. So now what was a field of 43 is now less than a field of 30. So he absolutely has changed the complexion of the race. This changes everything. Now we're going to see a lot more competitive, almost combative racing when it's all said and done. Ottinger, though, sitting on top of the world, sitting on top of the globe as he takes away position number 1, scoring lap number 48.
Kenny Humpy now looks for the lead on Nick Ottinger, working lap number 61, closing in on the halfway point, and they're going to have lap traffic ahead of them. Looks like Ottinger will go ahead and relinquish the top spot to Kenny Humpy. So at the conclusion of lap number 61, move Kenny Humpy to the point. Now Chad Lawton up to second as Ottinger falls back to third.
Top 6 go single file, top 10 go single file.
Any one of the top 10 cars have a very legitimate shot at victory, Joe.
Kenny Humpy 2 weeks ago, one of the Las Vegas Motor Speedway, Chad Lawton on the team as well, trying to win his first race of the season and move a little closer to the top of the board when it comes to the championship point standings. But through 3 and 4, you look back to Chad Lawton in the number 26. He's not going to get there at a corner number 4, checkered flag in the wind, and for 2 weeks in a row, it's going to go to Kenny Humpy in car number 58.